What's happening tonight, fans? Welcome once again to a spring edition of Holding Court with Todd Dagenais, along with the coach. My name is Sharon, and it has been a busy spring, and we're going to wrap it up for you here as we head into the summer months, where things kind of slow down a little bit. Obviously, around here, there'll be not as many people walking around the office, which we're right in front of, but that's okay. So let's talk a little bit, Coach, about how things have gone so far in the spring. Last time we talked, we still had the spring. We still had the beach tournament coming up. We still had a lot of things that had to get done. Just give me an overall sense of the spring from the last point we talked up through now.
You know what I think is amazing, how quickly this whole school year went by. Right. It just seems like yesterday we were at the start of the fall and trying to get ready for a season. Now here we are wrapping up a spring. I think we look at a couple different things. Let's look. We look at the on-court thing first, and. We had a lot of improvements. I mean, Ashley Galinos really had such a fantastic spring looking back, and so did Delana Sarden. But I think as a team, we still have some steps we needed to take. We wanted to be a little bit farther along than what we are right now. And so, I don't want to call it concern or worry or urgency or anything like that. We're just a little bit behind where we wanted to be right now in terms of offense and offensive output. And we've actually fallen a little bit defensively. And that may be because we had a little bit of a different spring focus. We'll talk about the strength and conditioning in a second, but really the focus was more on our speed, power, agility, and not so much on the volleyball side. So that could have to do a little bit with it. But what's really neat is I feel like the team has a renewed commitment to close that gap. They create a little bit of a gap for themselves, and really without us pushing. They decided that it was going to be their summer, and they're going to they're really going to rededicate themselves this summer, and the captains are going to do something about where we are right now. And I really appreciate having that kind of leadership and a team that's willing to, realize that they didn't get it done in the spring, so they're going to make up for it in the summer.
Do you guys now have a sense of, even though, like you said, things may have fallen back a little bit in terms of some of those goals, are those objectives that you have now that you want the players to work on over the summer and into the fall, are they firmly in place now?
Yeah, really, when you get to the summer, it's a very nebulous, kind of tenuous thing, and there's not really a lot of influence that we can have on them other than to tell them, look, these are the issues that we're having, and that's it. Now, if they come to us and say, hey, how do we want to work on that, or how should we work on it, we can give them advice.
Right.
But we really can't do anything with them over the summer. So really, it's kind of interesting because it's going to be entirely up to them how they're going to begin August 9th or 10th this year. And what we've had teams do that in the past, the sense is that we don't think we've ever done it the way it's going to be done this summer. So I'm looking forward to the results of that.
Interesting. Well, tell me about strength and conditioning, like you were saying. I know this is always something that is key, and we've talked about it before, about the way you prevent injuries in the fall is you have good strength and conditioning in the spring and the summer. How did that go so far?
Well, we had talked earlier about, we had a real heavy 6-week session where we just lifted hard, and numbers are up across the board. It was really exciting to see. The jump touches were up, the power, the agility, the quickness, a lot of that stuff was all up. And then we had our 20 hours a week practice, which was 6 weeks long. And we wanted to test them at the end to see how much we lost. Because usually when you train 6 days a week for 20 hours a week, you're either going to neutralize or you're going to fall backwards a little bit. When we tested again, we gained even more.
Wow.
And that was something that I was really, really thrilled with, is that our strength and conditioning staff has got us over a big hump right now where we actually improved in season, which is almost unheard of. And so I'm excited. I mean, we're as quick and as explosive as we've ever been, and yet we still have another 6-week session in the summer to add to it. So I'm absolutely thrilled. That's the area this spring that I throw my shoulders back and my head high, and I'm really, really proud of. And because we said that was going to be our main focus. So it's not surprising that the in-gym thing fell behind because it was secondary to our strength goals. And I'm just really looking forward to where we are physically and what the team's going to do this summer to make up for it.
Another way of testing that is by actually playing against people, and that's what you had the opportunity to do at the Fiesta on Siesta Key, the sand tournament. That now this is I think the third straight year that we've been a part of.
I think it's the fourth year.
Fourth
year.
And it's a lot of fun for the players, because they get to practice a little bit heading into it. But in sand volleyball, obviously, there are so many differences and similarities between that and indoor court volleyball. But give me your assessment of how the team performed in that event that is so much fun for everybody to be a part of.
Well, first of all, it's It's kind of like a rite of spring for us right now. We get to spend that last week of team training. We go outside and we just enjoy the outdoors and all the gifts that we have here in Florida to be outside in the sunshine. And so the team had a chance to train, except this year now the NCAA has sand volleyball as an emerging sport. And there are 18 programs in the country that have sand volleyball as a varsity program. Several of those programs were here at the Fiesta on Siesta because 12 of those 18 are in the Southeast. And so for the first time ever, we were given the opportunity, do we want to play in the non-varsity division or the varsity division? Well, you know me, we're playing in the varsity division. We want to see where we stack up. Right. And so what was really exciting for us is that we finished the highest out of any of the non-varsity teams.
That's great.
We were competing in there against, we had 1 week of practice and they've been training since August for it. And I think we finished 8th overall. And this is the tournament now that we had won 2 years in a row. But the difference between being non-varsity and varsity is huge. All that practice time is huge. And those teams that have been doing this for a year now, that makes a big difference. So it was exciting to be there and have that level of competition. We still had 2 teams finish in the top 16, 2 pairs finished in the top 16, so that was exciting. And we finished 8th overall and the highest of any of the non-varsity programs.
With regard to sand volleyball as a sport in general, how do you see its future now shaping up? As now we're starting to see, like you said, that it's taken on sort of a life of its own here in the Southeast.
Right. It's an emerging sport that's going to blow up. I really, really feel that way. Now, it's going to blow up regionally first.
Yeah.
And I think that's very understandable. It's going to be very much like a baseball, a soccer, a lacrosse, something like that. It's going to be more of a regional sport, at least to start. But there's 18 now. And it's projected to be about 26, 27, 28 next year. And then it'll be over 40 the following year, and that will qualify to have full NCAA status and have its own NCAA Division I championship. So it's going to go. It's going to happen. And, people always ask me, what do you think UCF's future is? And, I think with us moving into the Big East, I'm sure there will be a push to add additional sports, and I would guess that sand volleyball would probably figure quite favorably, because once we get to that point, it's going to be a whole separate group of athletes that play sand volleyball that play indoors. So we're creating more opportunities for young women to go to school on college scholarships.
It should be an interesting thing to watch over the next few years. All right, now we turn our attention towards the summer. Like you said, doing things a little bit differently this summer as you have in the past. It seems like there has to be some trepidation on you and the coaching staff's part, where you kind of send everybody home for the next 2-3 months, and by the way, here's what we'd like you to do, and man, I hope you do it.
Yeah. Well, it's really up to them. They're the ones that put in, we put in the hours in the office. They put in the sweat and the blood and the tears, and I really feel like they've invested so much into it that they're willing to do what they need to do to be good. And so we're going to give them a weight training packet that'll get them through this next month and a half. Then they'll come back for summer school late June, and we'll turn them loose with John again in the weight room, and that's where we begin that big summer cycle of weightlifting to prepare us for our report date, which is going to happen the second week of August. And I have no doubt that they'll do what they need to do. They're really a driven team. It's our last go-around in Conference USA. And we really want to be only the 3rd team in the history of college volleyball to finish last in a conference and go on and win a conference. There's only 2 other teams that have ever done it. And so that's been an all-consuming goal for this team, this actually group of athletes. Not so much, well, obviously the coaching staff, but it's really become their goal. And so that's kind of exciting. I really think that they have a super opportunity to prepare themselves to make a good run at a conference championship next year.
And it should be exciting also this summer when we look forward, and as far as the sport of volleyball in general, it is an Olympic year. London 2012 is right around the corner, less than 100 days to go. And it's a good opportunity to, I know that you've had experience obviously with USA Volleyball before, and you've been to Athens back in 2004 for the Olympics. If you can, real quick, I guess our last question here before we let you go for the summer is, what do you see as the outlook for USA Volleyball on both the men's and the women's side here as we head toward London? What's it going to be like for those 2 teams and volleyball reaching the public stage once again?
Well, I think what you're going to see in 2012 is a good 12 years, 3 quads of work. I've worked extensively in the developmental pipeline, trying to identify and develop the future Olympians. And so, again, this summer I'll be working with the Junior A2 national team, which will hopefully maybe be candidates for 2020 or 2024. Michelle's going to be working with the national 14 and under team this year. So we're going to have our hands still in the developmental pipeline. But up to the senior national team, they're #1 in the world right now. And they have every reason to believe that they have a great shot at medaling in London. We got a fantastic coach in Hugh McCutcheon, who's been here on this campus with the team, and we're just keeping our fingers crossed that everybody stays healthy, that the team gels the way it's supposed to, and hopefully this is the first Olympic gold medal that our USA women have an opportunity to win, and that'll make him just an icon even more than he already is in the sport, because he won one on the men's side, and not to go and possibly have the opportunity to win one on the women's side would be absolutely special for a great guy.
Well, it'll be a lot of fun, and I know that you're going to have whatever success the United States has, hopefully we'll have a lot. You'll have a hand in that, and it should be a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us, and and enjoy the summer. I guess I'll catch you again in the fall.
Thank you. We'll look forward to that.
All right, and thank you for tuning in for Holding Court with Todd Dagenais. For all of us here at UCF Athletics, UCF coaching staff, and the players, I'm Jeff Sharon saying thanks for watching, and we'll catch you again with a fall preview right leading up to the fall 2012 season. UCF volleyball, one last go-around in Conference USA. We'll see you then.